on our backs. And before you lie down on your back, you want to make sure that you have some space underneath your feet. So your butt is going to come to the edge of your mat. Your feet can either be on the floor or on your blanket. You'll bend your knees. You'll widen your feet outside of your hips. Let your knees fall in towards each other to hug each other. Yep. And then you can either wrap your arms around your torso and give yourself a hug, or you can let your arms cactus out to the side. And then you're just going to take a few moments here in this shape to just take a few audible breaths. Big breath in through the nose, audible exhale out of the mouth. Yeah, we'll do 2 more just like that. I've got you, Julie. Big breath in and big breath out. And last one, big breath in and big breath out. Fantastic. If your arms are crossed, go ahead and switch which arm is on top. And then you'll just take a few more breath cycles here. And as you continue to allow the body to fall into the support of the floor, you allow the knees to fall into the support of the other knee, and you allow the arms to fall into the support of your chest or to the floor. I want you to see how much you can really just soften, how much you can yield. So the physical theme of our class is to be working on the hamstrings, to be finding strength and length in the backs of our bodies. And the intention is to have this opening quality and effect, but not by focusing on the problem as one might ordinarily. And I thought that that would be an interesting theme to work on. And sometimes the problem, whatever we're identifying that as, is not best solved by trying to tackle it the way that we think. So, sometimes our muscles are tight or there's pain, so we think that they're tight. And so we try to stretch them, and it only increases the pain long term. Sometimes we overemphasize like doing more and more and more, and then it still leaves us feeling exhausted. And sometimes we have to pause and think that maybe the way that we're tackling something isn't the best way to solve the problem. And so our physical practice today is going to be an example of that. And the idea, the hope is that it will serve as a model by which you can then use in other areas of your life. So let's go ahead and you'll start to uncross the arms if they're still over the body. And then walk your feet hip distance apart. Go ahead and just draw your right knee into your chest. Find a little bit of compression here. And as you keep drawing the right knee into your chest, take some circles with the right ankle. And you're just breathing here. Long, steady, smooth breath. And then see how smooth you can make those ankle circles. And then we'll go ahead and we'll switch the direction of the circle. And again, we're just focusing on breathing. Noticing what it feels like to move that ankle as fully as we can, to feel the compression of the thigh against the chest. Great. And then go ahead, come to stillness with the ankle, and you'll make some circles with the knee. So now the thigh bone will be moving in your hip socket. You're holding on with your arms, and you're just seeing how big or how small and how smooth of a circle you can make. And then once you've gone one direction, go the other direction. And notice that this is maybe a little bit more precarious. The circle might not be as smooth, the movement might not be as easy, and that's okay. And are you still breathing? Great, and then let's come to a still neutral spot. Bring your hands to the back of your right thigh. Inhale, start to reach your right foot up towards the sky, straightening the leg. Exhale, bend the knee, hug the knee into the chest. And you've got 4 more of those. Inhale, straightening the leg, lifting the foot up, pushing the thigh into the hands, and then exhale, pulling the thigh into the chest. And 3 more on your own, just starting to floss the nerve, as it were, to find the breath, seeing how slow you can make the movement, how long you can make the breath. And then the next time the right leg is straight, go ahead and keep it there. Maybe point and flex the foot a few times, or take a few ankle circles here. But again, you're just noticing. How can we take a moment to really ground into this experience of the body? Fantastic. Go ahead and come to stillness with the ankle. Start to bend your right knee into your chest. Bring your right hand to the inside edge of your right thigh. Grab the outside edge of your right foot. Allow your right knee to fall towards your right armpit, the left knee to fall towards the left, and maybe you open the left arm out to the left to counterbalance. So you're in this weird, awkward, half happy baby. Left knee opens to the left, right foot comes up towards the sky. Yeah. Yep. And you just breathe awkwardly across your pelvis, breathing low into your belly, and just feel how this feels. Nice work. On your next in breath, draw the left foot back to the floor, cross the right ankle over the top of your left thigh, thread your hands through the hole, grab the back of your left thigh, front of your left shin, and take Sukhi Randrasana with your right leg close to you. And you just pause and you breathe here and you notice how this feels. Can you soften any tension around the shoulders? Can you actively flex through that right ankle, pressing it against your left thigh? Yep, and maybe lift your left shin parallel-ish to the floor. Yeah, fantastic. On your next exhale, release your hands, draw the left foot to the floor, draw the right foot to the floor. Take a moment to pause and just notice the difference between the sides. How does the back of the right hip feel specifically? How does the left shoulder feel specifically? And then we'll try all that on the other side. Draw the left knee into your chest. Nice little compression. Start by taking a few ankle circles here, just feeling how this feels, to really just breathe, to move the ankle in as much motion as possible. Switch directions if you haven't. Yeah. And then we'll go ahead and come to stillness here. And you'll start to create little circles in the hip joint by moving the knees, little knee circles. And just again, pay attention. How smooth can you make this circle? Are there like spots that it wants to jump over? Is the circle more like, I don't know, a child's attempt of making a circle? Is it smooth? Switch directions if you haven't. Nice work. Continue to breathe. And then we'll come to stillness. Bring both hands to the back of your left thigh. Inhale, straighten the leg, reach the foot up towards the sky. And then exhale, bend the knee, hug the knee into the chest. And you've got 4 more of those just on your own. And you're just paying attention, inhaling, lengthening the leg, and exhaling, flexing or bending the knee. And again, how slow can you make the movement? How long can you make your breath? Yeah, got about 1 to 2 more. The next time you extend your left leg up, go ahead and pause there. You might take some ankle circles here or point and flex your foot. But again, you're just noticing, can you continue to keep the breath smooth and steady and deep? Nice work. Let's go ahead and come to stillness. Bend the left knee. Bring your left hand to the inside edge of your left thigh. Grab the outside edge of your left foot. Allow the right knee to splay to the right, the left foot to come towards the ceiling for an awkward, half happy baby. And so you just let the right foot stay on the floor and let the thigh open, and you breathe across the inner thighs, the inner hips, the low belly, and you feel how that feels. Nice work. On your next in-breath, right foot comes back to the floor, left ankle crosses the top of your right thigh. Thread your hands through the triangular hole, grab the back of the right thigh, front of the right shin, and actively press your left ankle against the top of your right thigh. And you just breathe. Yeah, big, deep, smooth, stable breath. Maybe lift that right shin parallel-ish to the floor. Fantastic. All right, go ahead and release the hands. Draw the feet to the floor. And then you're going to reach your arms up and over your head. Grab opposite elbows. Cool. Keep your butt exactly as it is. I want you to lift your rib cage up, slide your ribs, your armpits, your elbows, all that stuff over to the left. So butt stays on the floor. Butt stays on the floor. And your ribs move to the left. There we go. And then you just find this long, steady breath here. And I want you to see if you can breathe all along your right armpit down to your right hip, almost thinking of reaching your right hip away from your head, your right shoulder away from your right hip, just to breathe into your upper right armpit, letting the right shoulder drop a little bit closer to the floor. Yeah. On your next in-breath, come back through center. And then as you exhale, carve the elbows over to the opposite side. So you're going to lift your elbows up, slide them over to the right, slide your rib cage over to the right. So yeah, there you go. Whichever other side you did not do. Okay. And then you just pause and you breathe all along from the armpit down to your left hip. Nice, steady, smooth breath. Great. We've got one more breath cycle here. Next in breath, lift the head, come back through center. Fantastic. Now at this point, you're going to walk your feet onto your blanket. And you're going to see if you can draw your blanket pretty close to your tuchus. So if you need to walk your butt closer to your blanket, great. If you need to walk your blanket closer to your butt, great. And then you want to make sure, Jenny, straighten your legs for me. Let me see if you'll touch. Great. Okay, cool. And we're going to try, just because some of us have not done this in a really long time, we're going to go gently at first. So let's all put our left foot on the actual hardwood floor, carpet, whatever you've got, and the right foot will be on your slidey surface. Next to it. So the blanket might be, there you go. Cool. And then from here, you're just going to do this is very simple. You'll inhale, slide your right foot forward, and then exhale, press the right foot down, draw it back. And you've got 3 of these. So inhale, slide it forward. Exhale, push down to the floor, draw it back. 2 more. Inhale. Nice question. So you want to flex through the foot when it's all the way straight. So you're always pressing down through the heel. Awesome. So this is our last one. Now let's go ahead and come back, both feet close to your butt. Roll your right knee out to the right. Just your right knee, your other right knee. There we go. Inhale, straighten your right leg down below. So press the right foot away from you and exhale, pull it back. Yeah, fantastic. And you got 4 of these. And you want to straighten your right leg as best as you can. We're flexing through that right foot as though you're standing on it. You're pushing down into your heel for dear life. Sorry, Jenny. And you may notice that this is kind of fun. Flexing your foot, Stefan. There we go. I'm pulling. 4 total. Way fewer than you did. Okay, the next time your right foot is close to your butt, bring your feet so they're both neutral. Now, listen closely. You're still on your blanket. Walk your right foot a little bit out to the right. Turn your right knee in towards the left knee. Fantastic. Inhale, straighten your leg. Exhale, pull it back. Yeah, I know. You have 3 hamstrings. We got to get all 3. So you have to internally rotate the leg. So Pam, walk the foot out, walk the knee in. Now push out. Yeah. Yeah, right? This one's much more intense. All right. Did we do a total of 4? Because you know I wasn't counting. This is 4. Great. Okay. So now come back through center, both feet parallel. Go ahead and switch sides. So now the right foot is on the floor, the non-sticky surface. The left foot is on your slidey surface. And then you'll inhale, send the left foot forward, and exhale, draw it back. And the more active you can flex through that left foot so it stays active the whole time, the more you'll feel the backs of your legs. Yep. And then pull it back as you exhale, flexing through the foot. And of course, I wasn't counting, so you're going to do 4 in each direction. 4 in neutral. Okay, so that was 4. And then you'll externally rotate the leg, and then 4 external rotations, seeing if you can keep your right hip rooted. So this hip stays, there you go. Hello, core work. Where's Erica for the sneaky core work? So you have to really push down on that no sneaky here. No, I know, I'm sorry. What? Oh, yeah. That was 4. Okay, then walk your left foot to the left. Left knee comes into the right. And then you'll do 4 with the internal rotation. Nice work. Barbara, press more into your right big toe for me. So your right knee stays pointing up to the ceiling. Yep. Yeah. So then you see how your pelvis is a little bit more rooted, and now you're only working on the inside edge of your left leg. Great. Okay, was that 4? Hooray! Okay, come back, both legs bent, both feet this time on the blanket. Now, if you're about to say, Jessica, that was a lot, you can go ahead and repeat what we just did. If you are ready to try a little bit more challenge, both feet are going to stay on the blanket this time. Okay, now we'll bring both hands alongside our hips. Okay, draw our shoulder blades onto our back, and you can plant your hands wherever is good for you. Listen very closely. Your butt is only going to lift 1 to 2 inches off the floor. We're not going into a super bridge, just a normal bridge. So listen closely. Separate your feet hip distance apart. Everyone flex through your feet. So all 10 toes are lifting up and away from the floor. On your next in-breath, push down through your feet, your arms, lift your hips a couple inches away from the floor. Listen closely. As you inhale, you'll slide your feet away from you, hovering your butt a couple inches away from the floor, closing your front ribs in. When your legs are all the way straight, lower your butt to the floor, push down into your heels and suck the blanket back towards your butt. Fantastic. Then inhale, push down through your feet, lift up through your hips, keep your feet flexed, slide your blanket forward. Once your legs are straight, you lower your tuchus to the floor and suck the blanket back. Yay! You get to do 2 more of those on your own. Now, the task for most of us is to make sure our front ribs don't flare. So as you go up, you want to make sure your front ribs keep closing down towards your hip bones. There we go. Yay! Hello, happy hamstring. Yep. We got 1 more. Nice job. Let me keep these closed. Yep. Hips lift. Fantastic. Once you've done 4, you'll slide that blanket back, and we'll all wait there for our next instruction. Yay! Okay, walk your feet to touch, soles of the feet to touch, knees open wide. Hooray! Now arms are alongside your hips, wherever works for you. Again, you're going to push down to your feet, push down into your arms, lift your hips a couple inches away from the floor. Keep your front ribs in, especially now, and on your next in-breath, you'll slide your legs all the way to straight. Once you get to your straightest position, slowly lower your butt to the floor and then suck the blanket back. Yeah, you got 4 of those. So push down through the hands, lift up through the hips, keep the feet active, keep the front ribs in, and slide back. Keep these in, keep these in, keep these in. Yeah! Hooray! So Sandy, you want to keep it in even when you lower your pelvis. Okay. Keep slowly. Yeah, there you go. That was 4. Okay, so once you've done 4 of those, this next one is going to be a little bit of a mind trick. So you're going to come back to center. I'm going to open this for you. You're going to walk your feet outside of your hips. Let your knees come in towards each other. Some of you might want to choose to put one of your blocks in between your inner thighs. It depends upon how much your V angle you have. So ladies, if you've got more of a V angle, you might want to put a block between your inner thighs. You've got a V angle, Pam. We all do. You guys had little people, so you definitely have a V angle. They had to come out. So section. Well, but still, your body prepared you for that. Okay. All right. So now we're going to have our feet on our blanket. Your knees are outside of, or your feet are outside of your hips. Your knees knock in. Hands alongside your hips, push down through your arms, lift your hips a couple inches up and away from the floor. Keep your knees pressing in. Inhale, slide that blanket out, keeping the internal rotation of your legs. Once you get to your straightest position, lower your hips and then suck the blanket back. Yep, and you got 4 of those. So you just keep on going. Nice, Barbara. Nice, Robin. Nice, Julie. Nice, Julie. Nice, Julie. Yeah, Julie. See if you can lift your block up a little bit, Julie, so it's right in between your knees more so than your thighs, and see if that helps. Nice, Laura. Yep. Awesome. And then once you've done 4, you'll come back to your centered position and you'll just pause. Now just pause. That wasn't too bad, right? Okay, we're all just agreeing to agree. I'm okay with that for right now. Let's bring your hands. I know if it's not okay, you'll let me know. Bring your hands alongside your hips. Make sure your feet are on the blanket. Walk your feet hip distance apart. Now lift all 10 toes up and away from the floor and actively push down into your heels. On your next in-breath, you're going to push down through your feet, push down through your arms, lift your hips to your bridge pose, whatever your height is for you. And then we'll close those front ribs into each other. We'll walk the shoulder blades together on our back. Some of you might interlace your hands. Some of you might robot your arms. Some of you might grab the outer edges of your mat. But we're just going to stay here for about 3 breath cycles. And I want you to see if you can think of pulling your heels back towards your butt. So pulling them back. And then you might need to lower the soles of the feet to the floor to make that happen. But if not, you just push your heels down and suck them back. And you should feel the muscles underneath your butt start to tense and tone. And we've got 2 more breath cycles here. And you just notice how that feels. Fantastic. On your next exhalation, release your hands, untuck your shoulders, bring your pelvis back down to the floor and pause. Nice work. That wasn't so bad. Go ahead and reach your arms alongside your ears. Roll over onto your right side and keep rolling over onto your belly. We'll adjust your mat situation in a moment, but for the time being, let's go ahead and cactus our arms out into a 90-degree angle in front of us. And we're all gonna look over at our left elbow first. Step your left hand where your left elbow was. Great. Look to your right elbow, slide your right elbow a little bit more towards the right. Great. Now look back towards your left elbow. Come to the tips of your fingertips on your left hand. Push down into your left hand, push down into your right elbow, push down into your right hand, and start to roll your rib cage towards the right. We're looking for a crazy stretch across your armpit on the right side. You'll know when you found it because you will have found it. If you need to walk your left hand a little bit closer to your face, by all means do that. If you want to bend your top knee, that's your left knee. You might bend it and put the left foot on the floor. Your right hand, that's the hand behind you, that which you cannot see, continue to push down into the floor. Continue to push that right elbow down into the floor and suck your right elbow towards your right armpit, which is towards your left thumb, and say, hello, right pec muscle. Right? And on your next in-breath, you'll come back onto your abdomen, both arms back to that cactus shape. Now again, you'll step your right hand where your right elbow was. Then go ahead and look to your left elbow, slide your left elbow a little bit to the left, about 1 inch, and then look back towards your right hand. Come to the tips of your right fingertip like cousin thing, and then you'll start to push down into your right hand, push down into your left hand, your left elbow, and roll your rib cage to the left. And then notice you might need to walk your right hand closer to your face. You might choose to bend the top knee, that's your right knee. And then we see how much we can press down to that backhand. That's the one behind us, and that same elbow. And then notice what happens if you lift your head a little bit away from the floor. Does that allow you to get more of your left pec? Oh yeah, I heard some groans, so maybe it does. And you just pause and you breathe. And then when you're ready, you'll come back onto your center, back onto your tummy. Great. Now from here, bring your hands, both hands alongside your rib cage, tops of the feet onto the floor. Now I want you to push your toenails into the floor and straighten your legs like Barbie legs. Now press your pubic bone down into the floor and lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. With your hands alongside your lowest or alongside your ribs, draw your shoulders up towards your ears and draw your shoulder blades onto your back. Lift your ears in line with the tops of your shoulders. Pause, press into your toes, press into your pubic bone, push down into your hands and pull your hands isometrically, so that means they don't move, back to your belly button forward towards your face. And see if you can lift your chest a little bit higher for a Bhujangasana, baby cobra. And you breathe for 3. You draw the shoulder blades together on the back for 2. You lift up through the center of your crown for 1. You exhale and lower down. Great, you'll do that 1 more time. So press into the feet, push into the pubic bone, inhale, pull the heart forward and up, and you just pause here and breathe. And we're really focusing on the back body. Our ability to have an open heart in the world really requires that we have the shoulder blades there to support the lifting, the opening of the heart. It requires that our feet are active, our tailbone lengthens back, our pubic bone pushes down. Exhale, lower down. Nice job. All right, let's inhale, come up through hands and knees. Take a moment in awkward static back position. So these are our sad little cows, Stefan. So our hands are directly underneath our shoulders, our knees are directly underneath our hips, and you let your belly drop and you let your head drop because you're not from California. You're a sad cow from somewhere else. So your head drops, it careens to the floor. Your chest drops through the gates of your arms. Everything just sags. This comes from Pitta Gosku. It's a functional movement exercise. I try to make you guys do this pretty often. And you just stay here. Your arms stay straight. Your belly drops. Your head drops. Your buttocks blossom. You're a sad cow, not from California. I don't know where those cows would exist. Can you melt this a little bit more here? Melt it. So come down to the you've got a lot of thoracic mobility. You just want to give your spine the ability to reset. Fantastic. Now, as you're ready, you'll take the slowest cat pose you've ever taken in your life. So you'll curl your tailbone down. You'll pull the low belly up. You'll drop your head even more. You'll press wide against your mat on your hands. Push the shins down around. There you go. And then 3 cats and cows at a pace that feels more comfortable to you. And you just notice what that feels like. Slow cats and slow cows. You just feel how that feels. Okay. After your next cow shape, let's go ahead and find a neutral spot, neutral spine. Walk your knees, ankles, and shins together. Curl all 10 toes under, and we'll start to walk your feet back. Pam, you skip this. And we'll go ahead. You have a legit excuse. You'll go ahead and sit up, and we're going to do a little bit of wrist work. So you're going to grab your left wrist with your right hand, and first draw the palm towards your face, straightening through all 5 fingers, and then draw your left thumb to the left, the fingers down towards your knees, the fingers over to the right, the fingers up towards your face. And you'll take this slow circle as best as you can. You want to make sure your forearm stays this way so that we can isolate the movement just in the wrist. And then, yeah. And then be sure to pause and go the other direction. Did we do 4? Okay. Not the other direction. Okay. Roberta, I appreciate you counting because you know I'm never counted. She keeps us on task. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the other side now. Draw your right palm to the face, draw your right thumb to the right, your right fingertips down, and then over to the left. So people at home, we were praising Roberta for keeping track because I'm never counting. And then Jenny's like, well, we're only counting to 4 or 5. Alexander could do that. Okay, this is 4, so go ahead and switch directions. Okay. So the next time Alexander joins us for yoga, he will be our official counter. He will count everything for us and make sure that I am staying on task. He would 4. Okay, fantastic. Come forward, pat out the tops of your toes, pitter patter them, having a happy little temper tantrum. Right? We all got distracted. Fantastic. Okay, go ahead and take a counter stretch if you'd like. And then we'll go ahead and set up. So go ahead and plant your blanket in the middle of your space. Unfold your mat if it's still folded. And then Pam, blanket in the middle. Pam, you might need to go back. If you can slide your mat back a little bit. Stefan, come forward. Sandy, come forward. Roberta, you might need to come forward. More forward. More forward, yeah. I don't want you to kick them. And I might actually have you turn around halfway through, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so we're gonna come to hands and knees. And the reason we did the wrist stuff is because I want you to make sure that while we're focusing on our glutes, we're not dumping in our wrists. So we're going to push down into the tops of our fingertips of all 10 fingers and make the heels of your hands super light. Draw your low belly in and your crown will lengthen forward. From here, extend your right foot back, curling the toes under. And you can just take a moment to pulse a little forward and back and just feel how that feels in your calves and be like, oh, hi, calves. I haven't paid attention to you yet. Now, once you feel like you've done that, we'll go ahead and come to stillness. Okay, draw all the weight into your hands again. Draw the weight into your right shin and left shin and lift your right shin parallel to the floor. Fantastic. Now from here, I want you to make sure that your right pinky toes are still pointing straight down. So that requires you to lift up even more through the inner right thigh. Fantastic. On your next in-breath, I want you to cross your right leg behind you to the left, tap your toes to the floor. Inhale, come back up through center, walk the foot to the right and tap the foot to the floor. And then inhale, come back up and exhale over to the left. Fantastic. The further you go, the harder it becomes. So you mitigate that for you. So we're going to do about 5 of these. And you want to see if you can keep your low belly in the whole time, if you can keep your head lifted the whole time. Yep. And so that we can just try to find our glute medius. That's the outer hip. And the more that you can keep your tone in your belly and your tuchus, you'll find that outer right hip butt muscle. Yeah. That was 5. Fantastic. Thank you, Roberta. On your next in-breath, go back to your neutral position. So your right leg is straight back behind you. Keep that foot parallel, to the floor. Right pinky toes facing down, right inner thigh lifting up. Now, for some reason, you're going to imagine that I put a little leprechaun on your heel, and you're going to kick it up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. We were pulsing. You were good. And then lower down and we'll try the other side. So let's go ahead and reach our left foot back, curl our toes under, and then you pulse a little forward and back and just feel how that feels. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and come to stillness, come to neutral, re-engage your hands. So press into the fingertips, keep the heels of the hands light, draw the low belly in. And this time before you lift your leg, I want you to see if you can spin your pinky toe to the floor even more. See how that inflames the inner or ignites the inner left thigh, and then lift your leg. Haha, keep that. Great. Take a breath in. On your next exhale, cross the leg behind you to the right, tap the toes to the floor. And then inhale, come back up. And then exhale over to the left, tap the full toes to the floor. Yeah. All right. And you've got 5 of these. And see if we can keep our hips neutral as we do this. Haha, there you go. Harder, right? Yeah. Hips neutral. Hips neutral. Keep drawing the outer right hip back. Hips neutral. There we go. Great. This is 5. Thank you, Roberta. The next time you're back to center, we'll pause there. Again, left pinky toe spins down to the floor. Inner left thigh lifts up. Imagine the little leprechauns on your heel, and you're going to kick them up for 10, for 9, for 8, for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hooray! Bye, little leprechaun. Lower the knee down. Take a cat and a cow and just notice how that feels. All right. And then let's find ourselves in a neutral spot. So just for today, I want you to do this every time we come into down dog, just for today. So we'll come to hands and knees, and then I want you to step back into plank pose. We're going to see if we can keep our hands and our feet exactly in this orientation as you bend your knees and lift your tuchus up and back towards downward facing dog. You'll notice you're in a much longer stance than you ordinarily might be. And so you'll just take a moment to bend just your right knee, bend just your right knee, just your right knee. There you go. And you see how that feels on the left. And then you'll straighten that leg, and then you'll bend just the left knee, just the left knee, just the left knee. Yeah. Fantastic. And then you'll straighten both legs. Awesome sauce. Without lifting your leg up behind you, take a breath in. Next, exhale, draw your right knee to your right nose. Well, you only have one nose. And then plant your right foot between your hands. Cool. Now from here, you might want to put your hands onto your blocks. Sorry, Jenny, yours were really far away. Okay, and then you're going to lower your back knee down to the mat. Now, cool, some of you will stay right here and you'll just keep your hands on your blocks and be like, yep, Jessica, this is where I'm going to stay. Some of you will bring both hands to the center of your front thigh. Before we go any further, I want you to push down into your right foot for dear life. I want you to push down into your left knee for dear life. That's fine, we got that. Let's close our front ribs back. Let's drop our tailbone down. Great, you're like, fine, Jessica, this is nothing. You're gonna lift your back foot. You're gonna bend your back knee and lift your back foot. And you might be like, yeah, that's fine. Got this hamstring curl, I'm good. If you want a little bit more, you'll take your left hand and you'll push against your left heel. Your left heel will kick into your left hand. Bloody murder, yep. And you got that block there in case if your foot is too far away, you kick into the block and the block kicks into you. And we're just curling for 5. We're curling for 4. Hello, hamstrings for 3. Are we breathing for 2? For 1, gently release the foot. Bring the hands down to the mat. Curl the back toes under, straighten back leg long, back to plank pose. And then back to downward facing dog. Notice what you notice between your right side and your left side. Big breaths in. Right side versus left side. Great. On your next in-breath, see if you can lengthen the spine. As you exhale, curl your left knee to your nose. Step your left foot between your hands. Fantastic. Go ahead and bring your hands to blocks. Lower your back knee down to your blanket. Okay. Some of you will stay here happy as a clam, hands on blocks. Some of you will walk your hands onto the belly of your thigh. This is an option. You can stay right here. You don't have to do anything further. Some of you will stay right here. We're all going to push down into our left foot. You're going to push down into your right knee. You might choose to stay here, pulling those front ribs back, lengthen your tailbone down. Some of you might choose to start to lift your right foot away from the floor. And then you might just stay there. You might push your right hand into your right heel. You might kick your right foot into the block. Whatever works for you, but we'll breathe for 3. We'll breathe for 2. We'll breathe for 1. Fantastic. Gently release that. Hands come down to the floor. Curl the back toes under. Straighten the back leg long. Step into your planky pose. Fantastic. This is a psych out. You're going to stay here for 3. We'll stay here for 2. You're going to stay here for 1. Next in-breath, shift your weight forward. Slower than you want to. Lower all the way down. If you need to remove that blanket once you touch, fine, you do that. If not, no worries. Awesome sauce. Okay, once you're down here, again, we're gonna press the tops of our toenails into the floor. We're gonna walk our hands, this time back alongside our hips. Turn your palms to face the floor. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears and draw your shoulder blades together on your back. Now lift your ears in line with the tops of your shoulders. Fantastic. Press your pubic bone down. Fantastic. Next in-breath, see if you can float your legs so far back that they lift up and away from the floor. Fantastic. This is going to sound counterintuitive. I want you to think of drawing your heels towards your butt. So like you're bending your knees just an inch, micro inch, micro inch. Yep. Press your pubic bone down. Lift your inner thighs a little higher from the floor. Maybe lift your hands away from the floor and we'll breathe for 3. We'll hug the shoulder blades together for 2. We'll press the pubic bone down for 1. Exhale, lower all the way down. Yay! Plant your hands alongside your lowest ribs. Curl your toes under. Draw your low belly in. Inhale through hands and knees or plank. And exhale back to downward facing dog. Now we're going to see if we can keep our feet super far back there. Super far back there. Nice work. Okay. All right. Oh, one more thing. Okay. Inhale here. Same leg. Exhale, draw your left knee to your nose. Step your left foot between your hands. Fantastic. Okay. Now this time, your hands might come to blocks if you need them, and that'll be good. You're going to push into your front foot, push into your back foot, step those points together. Some of you might stay here. Some of you might start to walk, whoa, your hands up to the belly of your front thigh. Fantastic. Some of you might stay here. Some of you might bring your hands to your hips. Great. Let's sit as tall as we can. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, bend your bottom knee, or right knee, touch, and inhale, come back up. Great, and you got 5 of these. Hello, legs. Hello, legs. And Roberta, when you come down, See if you can be slower on the descent. I know that's harder, but you got it. Oh, this is 5. Thank you, Roberta. Okay, then we're gonna stay in our high crescent lunge. From here, push down through the feet, hug your outer right hip back, outer left hip forward, arms reach up and you breathe. Maybe look up for 2. For 1, next exhale, hands come down to the floor. Step your left foot back, plank pose, and then go back to downward facing dog. Then you just pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice. Happy breaths. Great. Then we'll try the other side. Big breath in. Exhale, right knee to nose. Step the right foot between your hands. Fantastic. Hands might come to blocks. Push down to right foot, push down to left foot. Hands might come up to the belly of the right thigh. You might choose to stay there or bring hands to your hips. Great. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, bend the back knee, let it touch, and come back up. Great. And you got 5 of these. Now we're pushing, and we're lifting, and we're breathing. Nice control there, Julie. Nice control there, Barbara. Barbara, keep hugging your front ribs. This is 5. Thank you, Roberta. So we'll go ahead and stay. Back leg is straight. Hug your outer right hip back, outer left hip forward. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. And we'll see if you can maybe lift the gaze. Take a breath in. Next exhale, hands come down to the floor. Step back through plank. Psyche pose. You're going to stay here for 3. You're going to stay here for 2. You're going to stay here for 1. Next in-breath, shift your weight forward. As you exhale, lower slower than you want to, all the way to your bellies. Nice work. This time, let's go ahead and bring our hands to our low back, interlacing our fingertips at the webbing. Okay, separate your feet about hip distance apart. Press the tops of the toenails to the floor, straighten through your legs. Press your pubic bone down and lengthen your tailbone back. Then draw your shoulders up towards your ears, your shoulder blades together on your back. Lift your ears up in alignment with your shoulders. And when you're ready, you'll inhale and reach so far back through your feet. Let your legs reach up and away from the floor. Find that micro bend in the knees. Lift the thighs. There you go, a little higher from the floor. And then see if you can lift your chest a little higher from the floor. And maybe your hands away from your tuchus as you breathe. Yeah, for 3, for 2, for 1. Exhale, lower all the way down. Plant your hands alongside your lowest ribs. Curl your toes under. Inhale through hands and knees or plank. And exhale back to downward facing dog. And just 3 breaths. And you notice what you notice. So we're refraining mostly from stretching the hamstrings other than down dog. Otherwise, we're working on strengthening the muscles to help it open up the body. And we'll see how we feel once we get a little further along. All right. I think you're now on your left leg. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, step your right knee to your nose. Plant your right foot between your hands. Okay. Spin your back foot, that's your left foot, to the floor, and then come up for warrior 2. Okay, today let's bring our hands to our hips. Oh, sorry, Rebecca. And I want you to bend your back knee. We're like in this weird, you're gonna bend the back knee. Nope, so this is still, there we go. With your hands on your hips, with your back knee bent, I want you to see that you can find space for your pelvis to descend. And then you're going to start to straighten your back leg, that's your left leg. But imagine that for some reason, you're pulling your left heel to your tuchus until you feel the back of the hamstring engage. Yeah, straightish. But do you feel a hamstring? Okay. So she does, you don't, that's okay. So we'll keep bending into this front leg. And you want to think of pulling this foot to this part of your body. There, it's shaken. There you go. Now go ahead and lower your right forearm to the top of your right thigh. Reach your left arm alongside your ears and find Utthita Parsva Konasana, extended side angle. And we're still imagining that we're trying to suck our left heel, that's our back heel, towards our left butt cheek, finding that bend. And then you're rotating the right ribs under, left ribs on top. And you're saying, hello, breath. Nice job. Next in-breath, slice the left arm back, come to warrior two. Whoops. Fantastic. And then from here, flip the front palm and take a reverse warrior. And we want to see if we can find just a side body bend. So just the upper ribs are moving forward, kind of like we did when we were on the floor. Nice job. Next, exhale, cartwheel your hands down to the floor. Come to a low lunge. Step your front foot back to plank pose, and then go back to downward facing dog. Fantastic. And then we'll go ahead and try the other side. That looks really good, Barbara. Inhale here, and then exhale, take your left knee to your nose. So we're trying not to do the lift, because we're trying to see what happens to our hamstrings in just a moment. And then from here, spin your back foot to the floor, and then come up for Virabhadrasana 2. Great. And then once you're here, hands come to hips. Bend your back knee a lot like you're a happy fencer. Yeah, there you go. And then once you're in that shape, you'll notice that with the back knee bent, you can let your tailbone drop. So see if you can let the tailbone drop and then start to straighten the front leg. Back leg. Yeah, back leg, your right leg. And you want to imagine that you're still trying to pull your right heel up to your tuchus. So if you want to touch yourself at the back of your glute, you're trying to find that muscle engaging. Great. Once you've got that, left forearm comes to the top of left thigh, right arm slices across your ear line, and you just take a moment to pause and you take a moment to breathe. And you're drawing the right heel forward, you're drawing the left heel back. The right ribs are stacking on top of the left ribs. Yeah. And you're seeing if you can soften the energy out. Nice work. On your next in-breath, slice the right arm back, come back to warrior two. Nice job. Flip the front palm, lightly touch the right hand to the top of right thigh as the left arm reaches up for Viparita Virabhadrasana. And you're just pausing and you're breathing all on your left side body. Nice. Next in-breath, come through center. As you exhale, cartwheel your hands down to the floor. Pivot to the ball of your back foot. Pause. Step back to plank. Yay. Next in-breath, shift your weight forward. As you exhale, lower slower than you want to. And then take the back bend of your choice of the ones we've tried. So either regular cobra or locust or hands behind your back, but you choose which one you're going to take, and you'll be there for about 3 breath cycles. And again, the inner thighs are lifting. There we go. Next exhale, lower all the way down. Plant your hands alongside your lowest ribs, curl both sets of toes under, come back through hands and knees, and then go back to downward facing dog. Yeah, 3 breaths. Are we all doing okay? Okay. Take a big breath in here. On your next exhale, you step or float top of space. Okay, now here's our most extreme hamstring stretch that we've got all day. I want you to notice what happens if you let your butt slide back just a little bit behind your heels. And then notice what happens if you shift your butt forward so the weight's more forward across your feet. Okay, and you'll find a happy medium for you. Most of us have our hips too far back a lot of the time. We want to see if we can have them centered, not too far forward where our toes are gripping the mat for dear life, not too far back that we don't feel the stretch in our hamstrings, but just in the middle. All right, cool. From here, let's go ahead and inhale, slide your hands up your shins, lift your spine parallel-ish to the floor, and then find that static back position. So it feels like your belly drops, it feels like your buttocks blossom and your heart melts forward. There we go. On your next exhale, fold all the way in. Okay, listen very closely. This is a modern dance thing. You can take it as you wish. If your legs stay straight, it is more intense. If your legs bend, it is less intense. You choose your adventure. You're going to roll up your spine bone by bone. So you can either bend your knees or keep your legs straight. Your head is the last thing to come to vertical. And if your legs are straight, it's taxing the hamstrings in a different way than if your knees are bent. So you choose that. And then you slowly take your time. And when you get all the way to the top, you'll just take a moment to let your nervous system catch up, your vestibular system catch up. Find the weight going down into your feet, your head over your spine. Yay! Okay. Go ahead and bring your hands to your hips. Cool. We're going to shift our weight over to our right leg and lift your left knee up. And you're going to create your knee circles here. Here's another sneaky core work for Erica. This one is surprisingly interesting because we're doing a few things. We're doing your core and making you stabilize on your right leg and making your right foot work a lot. And then your left hip is working too. Okay, now go the opposite direction with your circle. Yeah. Okay. How many was that, Roberta? Okay, great. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So your right knee comes up, and then you're just taking the circles. We're doing 4 in each direction. Awesome, thank you. And you're just feeling how that feels. That was probably 4. And then switch direction. And the second direction for most of us is a little bit more complicated. And we don't want to lock out our left knee, so we're stable there. 4. Fantastic. All right, lower your right foot to the floor, lift your left knee back up. Externally rotate your left thigh. See if you can draw your left foot to your inner right thigh without needing your hand, and then take your hand and adjust it. Hands can come to heart center. Push the foot into the thigh, thigh into the foot, drop the tailbone down. And notice that our Vrikshasana is a little bit easier than normal. And you just pause and breathe. And we'll release the left foot, and we'll go to the other side. So hands back to hips, right leg lifts, externally rotate the right thigh. See if you can draw your right foot to your left thigh without your hand. And then see if you want to use the hand to reposition. Hands then come to heart center. And you push the foot into the thigh into the foot, the tailbone drops straight down. Nice work. Gently release. Okay, and the last little thing before I torch you one more time. Both arms reach up and overhead. Go ahead and turn your left palm to face the sky. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. There we go. Lift up through the left arm. And then take a little side bend to the right. Draw your front ribs in and back. Yep. Keep rooting down into the big toe mound of your left foot as you reach and breathe through the left side body. Next inhalation, come up through center. Switch sides. So the right palm turns to face the sky. You grab the right wrist. You reach up, and then you take a little side bend to the left. And again, draw your front ribs in and down. Tailbone lengthens down. Nice work. Okay, inhale, come up through center. And exhale, lower down. Cool. Are we okay for one more thing? All right. It'll be Shavasana after this. So we are going to do a little bit of setup. This time, when you had your blanket at the top of your mat or the back of your mat, now you're going to have your blanket at the top of your mat. And this time, I do highly encourage you to bring both blocks with you and bring them on their highest setting. I'm wondering if I should demo this before I have you do this. Okay. Basically, I'm going to make you do triangle in the hardest way possible. That's the heads up. So we're going to start by having both of our feet on our blanket. Hands are going to come to our hips. You're going to bend into, I'm going to have my right leg as my supporting leg, and I'm going to come back to that warrior 2. Because I'm on a slippery surface, it's going to be harder. Bending the back knee is going to help because it's going to stabilize the back hip. You're sliding back like we did at the very beginning. You're going to hold that for dear life. And you're like, yeah, just this is where I'm going to fucking stay. This one's easier. So you might just stay here. The next bit will be to try to straighten the front leg. And what you'll have to do is you have to pull back like deer life. And those of us that are hypermobile have to keep a slight bend. And we're going to hinge at our hips and try to find a block. And then you find yourself in triangle pose. But because I'm on a slippery surface, I have to keep pulling back. Yeah, we don't want to end up in splits. And then to come out, hand comes to hip, bend the front knee, wiggle walk the back foot in. Come up. Ready? It's not a Hanumana practice. No, we are not doing Hanumanasana, no split. Hopefully not. Okay, so you'll start by standing on your blanket at the top of your space, both feet between your blocks. Cool. Hands come to your hips, and then we'll bend our knees and we're going to step our left foot back. Okay, and you'll step your left foot back wherever you need. And you'll notice immediately that it's kind of slippery. Yes, it is. And so that right foot, you keep sucking back. You push down for dear life in that blanket and you pull that back. Okay. Some of you might stay here with a slight bend in the back knee, hugging your hip heel to your hamstring. Some of you might start to straighten your front leg. Whoa, right? Fantastic. And so if you straighten that front leg, you have to pull back for dear life in the foot. You might stay there. You might bring your hands to your hips and start to hinge at your hips, bringing your right hand down towards the block. So my hypermobile friend, you pull back for dear life. Dear life.
I could this foot.
I know you can, but that's not where I want you to go. And then when you're ready to come out, are you okay? Okay. You'll bring your top hand to your top hip. You'll come back up to vertical. You'll bend your front knee. You'll wiggle walk your back foot in. Wiggle walk your back foot in. Yep. No. Are we okay? Do we want to try again? Okay, we'll try the other side. If at all, for any reason, let me say this, if at all, for any reason, you're concerned that you might slide, step back, Sandy, you can find a little bit of assistance by putting the edge of the blanket on your mat. Just a little bit. All right, and then you try the other side. So both feet on your blanket, both hands on your hips. You'll go ahead and bend both knees and step your right foot back. And you first just start by finding your warrior two. And you'll notice here that you really have to suck that left foot back. You push down like you're making your claim in society and you're pulling that foot back, and then maybe slight bend in the back knee so that you can hug hip to heel. And if you're like, yep, that's where I'm staying, you'll stay there. You might bring hands to hips and start to straighten your front leg long. Yep, and then from there, you keep pulling that heel back and you might stay here. You might start to hinge at your hips and reach that left hand down to the block. Yep, and you keep pulling that left heel back. Yeah, look at you go, Pam. Light bend here and keep pulling back. Yep. And then when you're ready to come out, top hand comes to top hip. You come back up to center, bend the front knee, wiggle walk the back foot in to meet the front foot, and step to the top of your space. Is it okay for your knees?
Knees are good. The toe is not functional.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
But yes.
Awesome. And we made it. People at home, did you make it? Thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. We got some thumbs up. Okay, fantastic. Here's our last thing. So now you're gonna actually stand on your mat. We are done. Actually, we're not. I shouldn't have said that. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. We wouldn't be complete without a chair pose. Exhale, fold forward at your hips. Inhale, slide your hands up your shins, heart reaches forward. On your next exhale, hands come to your hips. Start to bend your knees, send your knees forward, send your tuchus back, reach your heart up. You might keep your hands on your hips, you might reach your arms forward, you might reach your arms up and over your head, but you've got 3 breaths here, and we're pushing down through our feet. We're hugging our hips. We're breathing for 3. We're breathing for 2. We're breathing for 1. Next exhale, stand up, reach up, look up. And then exhale, hinge forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back to your plank pose. Next in-breath, shift your weight forward. As you exhale, lower all the way down to your bellies. Okay, extend the tops of the feet to the floor. Press into your toenails, press down into your pubic bone. Draw your shoulder blades up to your ears, draw your shoulder blades onto your back, and lift your ears in line with the tops of your shoulders. Listen closely. Float your legs back by reaching your toes back. Lift your hands up and away from the floor and press your pubic bone down. Suck your belly button towards your sternum and see if you can lift your chest a little higher. Now slide your hands back about 1 inch or 2. Put your palms down, hug your shoulder blades together, press your toes down. Lift your heart up into your upward facing dog. thighs lift up, and just pause and breathe. Nice work. Nice work. Look at that. Next exhale, lower all the way down. Make your way back to your downward facing dog. Very last one. This one, I will encourage you, please walk your feet in about 1 or 2 inches. Notice how more of your heel now comes to the floor. Bend just your right knee and notice that you feel the stretch, just your right knee, there you go. The stretch in your left calf. Yep. That's a fun dinosaur. And then switch sides. And just notice what you notice in the calf. Great. And then if you want to, you might walk your feet in a little bit closer to your face and do that again. Noticing how, as the legs become closer to your hands, it changes the sensation you feel in your legs. And you switch sides as you're ready. And again, you might walk your feet a little closer. And again, you're bending one knee and then bending another. You might eventually make your way back to an Uttanasana. You might grab opposite elbow when you get there. You might sway a little bit, you might not. Yay! All right. And then we'll very gently, you'll bend your knees as much as you can to come into a primitive squat. So your butt comes pretty close to your butt, or your butt comes pretty close to your heels. Your butt's already close to your butt. And then bring your butt to the floor and extend your legs long in front of you. It has to do with the orientation of your feet. So you want to stay more parallel for primitive squat. They say that this is like why they don't have a lot of hip and knee pains, because they're more able to sit in this position. It's more aligned versus, we're like constantly, I don't know how we're constantly sitting, but we're not sitting normally. So we'll go ahead and sit up neutral. Some of you might want to put your butt on a blanket. Some of you might, if you're really still enjoying all this hamstring stuff, put your heels on the blanket as well, and you suck the heels back. Cool. Legs active. And then remove any flesh from underneath your sit bones. Cool. And so all of us are going to push our heels down into the floor, and I want you to think of pulling your heels back to your pelvis. And then notice if that allows you to arch your low back a little bit, and your hands are alongside your heels or your thighs. And you're going to keep pulling your feet back as you reach your heart forward. Keep pulling your feet back as you walk your hands forward. Keep pulling your feet back as you walk your hands forward. And you'll find yourself working towards Paschimottanasana. You might eventually be able to climb your hands onto your feet. But again, you're pulling your feet back by pushing your heels down and dragging them back and reaching the heart forward. And you just find nice breath. Great. That's fantastic. Good job. You pull the knees back a little bit more for me. There we go. Awesome. And then very gently, you're going to come out of this. Bring your hands alongside your hips. We're going to find our flapper girls. So your hands can either externally rotate the palms, or the hands can internally rotate, but whatever works best for you. But you're going to draw your shoulder blades together on your back. You're going to lift your heart up. We're going to just be like little flapper girls in the sun, and you just hug the shoulder blades and breathe here. Yeah. All right. Cool. Let's come up to sit. We're going to cross our ankles. And this one doesn't matter which one's in front, because we're going to do both. And then again, remove any flesh from underneath your sit bones. And we're going to start to crawl our hands forward. And we're looking for a stretch on our outer hip, outer back. You can bring hands to blocks if that works. You can just come all the way into the shape if that works. But you just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. Yeah. Awesome. Now you're going to slowly come out of this shape. Look down and see what shin is in front for you. Uncross your legs. And then switch sides. And then again, removing any flesh from underneath your sit bones and start to walk yourself forward. And just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. Nice work. Two more breath cycles here. And we'll slowly start to come out. Let's all go ahead and turn around. And you're going to lay down on your back. For those of you that do need to scoot right at 9:15, skip the rest of this and just go to Shavasana. We are going to run a little bit late. The last thing I'd like you to do is an actual bridge pose and then some supine twists. So you'll come to lie down on your back. Your hands will be alongside your hips. If you want to block between your thighs, great. If you don't, great. But when you're ready, you'll push down through your feet. I got you, Pam. Lift up through your hips. And then you might interlace your hands underneath you. You might robot the arms. You might grab the outer edges of your mat. But again, you pull your feet back. You slide the feet back. That allows the knees to slide forward. You draw the front ribs in. You allow the upper chest to open and melt by pushing the back of the shoulder blades down. And then on your next exhale, you'll release the hands. You'll untuck the shoulders. You'll bring the pelvis back down. Notice what happens to the back when you touch the floor this time. If you'd like to do another one of those, by all means, do one more. Sometimes a couple sets just allows things to reset. And again, you just pause and you breathe and you notice how that feels. Yeah. Take your last two breath cycles here. Robin, hug in more with your left leg, left thigh into that block a little bit more. Yeah. And then gently you'll release the hands, you'll untuck the shoulders, you'll come back down, you'll pause. Okay. Listen closely for this. We're gonna let both legs fall over to our left. Cool. Slide your butt a little, just come out of this because that was not how I wanted you to do this. So come back up to center. Slide your butt first to the right, put your butt back down, let both legs come to the left. Now stack both knees on top of each other, both knees on top of each other. Find a 90-degree angle with your knees and hips. And I want you to all look at your knees. Look at your knees. And then grab your top knee with your left hand. Make sure your top knee is in line with your bottom knee, so it has to come forward. Yep. And you might slide your left elbow more to the left and then start to open the right arm to the right and look towards the right. Now we're trying to find a crazy stretch on our back. Now some of you might find that if you reach your right arm straight out to the right, you get one stretch. Some of you might find if you reach it up and overhead, you get a different stretch. And again, your knees are going to the left. And you're finding that angle with your right arm that allows you to feel a stretch on the right side of the back. And you just pause and you breathe. The right hip, that's the top hip, comes away from you. So think of arching your back just a little bit on the right side. Great. And then when you're ready, you'll gently release that, come back through center. And we'll try that on the other side. We'll start by lifting your tuchus to the left, letting the butt come back down. Allow both legs to fall towards the right. Look at your knees. Draw your knees towards a 90-degree angle and stack that top knee directly on top of the bottom knee. Hold on to that thigh with your right hand. And you might inchworm the right shoulder elbow thing to the right a little bit more as you then open the left arm to the left. And then from there, maybe find where the angle works for you with that left arm, whether it's out to the left or a little bit up and above. Mm, that feel okay for you? I'm wondering about what would happen if your knees came closer to your chest and your feet came closer to Pam. Love that. You feel it more in a good way? Okay. You fit in with them very well then, Stefan. That's so good. Okay. And then when you're ready, you'll gently come out. You'll make your way onto your back. You'll come into your final shape, Supta Baddha Konasana. If you do have two blocks, highly encourage you to use them. If you don't have two blocks, you can just open the knees and allow gravity to open there. And then you might choose to come out of that shape at some point. The supporting the outer edges of your thighs. Sorry. That's funny, Sandy. I was like, oh, Supta Baddha Konasana with the blocks. You're like, yeah, but what am I doing with the blocks? And you just pause and you breathe. And those that are not using the block, stay very attuned to what your body is telling you, because there's a sweet spot where you'll want to come out at the sweet spot before you cross that threshold. And then once we find ourselves in our final shape, we'll end the way we started. So you'll take 3 audible breaths out of the mouth. Yeah, one big breath in and an audible exhale. And last time. And as you find yourself now, just allow the breath to fall back into its natural involuntary rhythm. With every breath, allow yourself to trust more in the support that's beneath you, whether it's the props or the floor. And the more that you can soften into the support that is always all around us, the more new things will begin to open, to reveal themselves. I'll leave you here with you for the next few moments, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, take a moment to check in. If there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape, by all means, please stay here. When you are ready to move on, allow movement to re-enter your physical form in a soft and gentle way. Those in Supta Baddha Konasana, you'll bring your hands to the outer edges of your thighs and close your knees together like a book. You can then wiggle and stretch and yawn in any way that feels good to you. Gently, you'll start to make your way to one of your sides and you'll pause there for a few breath cycles. Then from your side, press yourself up to a tall seat. When you are vertical, please elevate your bum on something, whether it's a block or a blanket. Keeping the eyes closed, the gaze soft. Notice what it feels like to really find the root in your pelvis and then stacking each vertebra on top of each other, up through the low back, through the heart, through the shoulders, to the head. Let the backs of the shoulder blades slide down the back, the head float in neutral. Soften your tongue, soften your jaw, soften the eyes. Bring one hand to your heart. Bring the other hand to your abdomen. And just breathe between these two spots for the last few breaths. For many of us, our sense of intuition resides in one of these two locations, whether it's our heart or our gut. And often, in order for our intuition to speak to us, our mind has to quiet down just a little bit. Whatever it is that we're working with, we have to allow ourselves to step back just a little bit so that we can re-examine things from this center, our gut, our heart, our intuition. And so as we leave our practice today, I want you to just notice, how can you trust in this part of your knowing a little bit more? How can it lead you a little bit more? We'll complete our practice with a collective breath, followed by a collective Om. Guide your hands to heart center Anjali Mudra. Press the palms into each other. Allow the weight of your thumbs to rest into your sternum and lift your sternum into your thumbs. Soften your chin towards your throat just a little bit and exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in through the nose. Audible exhale out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May your thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light, the breath, the guidance within me honors and salutes the light, the breath, and the guidance within each of you. Namaste.